And I'm on day 2 of doing my wallpapering. This little hallway which I've been doing, actually it's very tricky because I realised that there's 4 doors and there are lots of corners and edges and reveals and everything. So anyway, I'm going to show you how I'm going to go around a door frame, because that's quite a good one to do. So I'm going to show you how I put the wallpaper around the door frame on both sides, and then I'm actually going to show you how to turn a corner on the outside. So rather than having an inside corner, we've got an outside corner. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm just rolling on the paste onto the wall, so I can start put this sheet of wallpaper around this door. Right, so I'm going to put on my other sheet of paper here, and just saying top tip. When you are doing wallpaper at the top of the wall here, where I've got my excess, you don't want to have a massive overlap because it just pulls everything off. So, I mean, that's probably sort of less than 10 centimetres that I've got here. But if I had a massive bit, like sort of here, it just falls like that and it's really annoying. So that's the top tip of, and then what I try and do is when I've got it rolled up like this, I try and match a sort of piece of the pattern, sort of not, it doesn't have to be sort of right at the very top. I sort of do it just a bit further down so I can sort of get the pattern going. And then I can sort of move it up and then match it like that. And then I've got that going there rather than starting exactly at the top. Just start a little bit further down like that. And then I can bring the wool, because I've got it on a roll, it's sort of, I'm in control and I haven't got a massive sheet of paper sort of flapping around. So, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep rolling down, because I've got the door which I've got to negotiate. So I'm going to keep pattern matching. I'm just going to keep doing that for the moment. So I'm coming down, pattern matching. Just sort of keep pulling the paper along if you need to, just to get it going. Because once you've got the pattern matched, then you can start to sort of cut. So that's good. And you see I haven't got much excess at the bottom either. So that's quite good. So sometimes you can have a bit too much excess. So that's okay, and then I can just use my scrapey tool a bit here now. So I use my scrapey tool and I'm going to start sort of bringing it in here so I can sort of see where I'm going to be on the top of the door. So now I'm going to go back up my ladder and I'm going to look for the top of this, for the corner of this doorway. And then with my scissors, I'm going to cut sort of across like that. So, and I'm going to go up to the point where the end is. So I'm just going to go up like that. And then I can start sort of pushing it in. So that bit there is coming along here. And then I can lift it up just so that I've got and then we can start just using the scrapey tool. Might have to start moving this around a bit up here. And I'm just going to literally start pushing it in. I'm scraping it in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut across the top of here with my knife. Top tip with the knife is always have as long a blade as possible. I've nearly run out now of this, but I'll probably have to put a new blade on. But you always need to have as big a longer knife as possible. So I'm going to cut it, pressing hard, because the thing about this wallpaper is it's very tough. So it's not going to rip, so you really need to have a sharp knife. So that's the top bit there. So I can take that off now. And that's been done. And then now I can have a look at this. I might just do this top bit here. I'll just cut this off as well. So I'm just using my tool, pressing in hard and moving that along. You can use anything as long as you've got a straight edge. And what you can do is you can wait till you've got all the wallpaper up along that width and then just cut it all off at the same time, so you don't have a sort of gap. If you sort of cut something a bit too short, then you know you're cutting it all across the length of the wall. And then you see I've got a bit of wallpaper paste on the ceiling, but I can just use my sponge to clean that off with. And then we're going to come down to this is now my doorway. Now what I want to do is just sort of go along with my scrapey thing first. So I can go along and just feel happy where I know where that edge is. And then I can start, I'm just trying to think the best way of doing it. Sometimes you can cut on the inside or the outside. I'm actually going to try, it's going to feel comfortable. And I've got my knife there. So I'm going to start moving my knife down with the scrapey thing. I don't really know if it's called a scrapey thing, but anyway. So keep doing that. And then you're going down the edge. And then push it in so you know that you're not going to be cutting too short. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this bit off here so I can concentrate on the bottom. I'm just going to cut this excess off. And I can just see, cut that off a bit because the knife didn't quite go through it. I'm just going to cut this off. It's always the end bits which are the problem with the knife. So it's always the bits which are sort of just a tiny bit stuck on the top. And then again, I'm going to use my scrapey tool. So make that nice and neat, nice and pattern matched. And you see I've got my paint, I painted right over the edge. So if I have got a gap, it's sort of going to be slightly covered with the paint. And then I'm going to do push in again. I'm going to push in to get my bottom bit. So I'm going to do that first. So I'm going to cut that. Oh, that's coming off now. And then push in again. So you're sort of coming down to the actual corner. And then I think I'm going to use my scissors, because if I use my scissors, I can sort of see what I'm doing. So if I hold it like that, you can see. So if I cut with my scissors, then I cut with my scissors here, I get a really nice sort of sharp edge. And then I'm going to do, and to push that down. And there we are. That's what you do to go around one side of the door. So the next bit I'm going to do, I've got to go around an outside corner. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well as the other side of the door. So I'm just going to show you, because I found it quite difficult to do this, but just to show you how to take off one of these blades, because you need a really sharp knife, and these are really good. So I'm going to show you. So I pull it in a bit, and then I get some pliers like this, and then I just click it off like that, and it comes, oh, it's meant to come off. Hang on, that didn't all come off. And then that will take it off. I'll just do it again because that wasn't really very good. So I hold onto it like that, and then it comes off like that. So if I want to put a new blade in, take the back out, and then this comes out like this, and then I need to get a new one. This is a new blade, so I put that in the hole there, and I push that in. I mean, some things, you know, people just presume everyone knows what to do, but actually some things are quite fiddly and you want to know someone to show you. And then you put this back on. That's it. And then you can pull your knife backwards and forwards. So you need to have your knife really far out when you're doing wallpapering. So it makes a big difference and makes it much easier. So now I've come to this, which is luckily my last corner, which I need to do. And then we're going to be motorway wallpapering from now on. But what I need to do is I need to measure the height of this wall. So that is 165 centimetres. I say 175 with some excess on it. And then what else I've got to do is I've got to have a look, because I've got to go around this corner. So I need to know this measurement here, which is up to the last foot of wallpaper. So that's just over 20 centimetres. So I need to measure that again as well. So that's the same. So that's 20 centimetres. So what I need to do is I need to cut a piece of wallpaper that's going to be about, say 21 centimetres, so I can go around the corner, because I can't just pull the wallpaper round. I've got to cut it, and then we're going to put another bit of wallpaper again on this bit, but from the same sheet. But I'll show you how that works. So anyway, we're going to cut the wallpaper now, and I'll come back and show you what to do. So I need to measure 176 down here, which is my strip, and my table's a bit longer than 176. So I usually sort of go up, well, that's 170. So I'll just put a mark, just a little mark on the side there. Don't forget where the mark is, because they disappear and you can't find the mark. So I might just do another 10 centimetres. So I'm going to put that on there. Just do another little mark. And then I'm going to use my thing here, just so I get a straight line, because I like to deal in straight lines. And then what I'm going to do is show you a way that you can do to cut the piece off that we need. So we need to use all this sheet of wallpaper, but we need to cut it in half, and then we keep the other half for the other side of the corner. So what I'm going to do is it was going to be 21 I needed. So I'm going to use, so this is the side, this is the side that I need. So you want to make sure that you've got the right side. And then I'm going to do 21. I need 21. So I'm going to try and do something. I'm going to come around this side of the table and do it this side because it's easier. So I'm going to put the tape measure across at 21. In fact, I might just do 21 and a half to be on the safe side. 21 and a half. So I've got that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my pen. And I'm just going to make that a bit easier to see. So you can see 21 and a half there. And then I'm going to put my pen and hold it like that. And then I'm just going to go down, keeping my tape measure on 21 and a half. And I'm just going to carefully go down. And this is a good tip for making a line that we're going to cut. So it's going to be exactly 21 and a half. It's quite easy to do this. It looks harder than you think. I mean, it looks hard, but actually it's easy. So just hold your pencil. So your pencil's one of your best friends when you're wallpapering, I think. And then we're going to get to the end, and then I'm going to have to shuffle the paper along a bit more and just do the last section. I'll just push that in a bit more, get 21 and a half again. And then we'll go across like that. So there we are. And then I'm going to cut that piece very carefully and then we're going to be ready to paste the wall again, and then we can start going along and putting it, going around the corner. So we're doing two things. We're going around the door and we're going around the corner. I'm going to cut this, and then we're going to use this other bit to go around the corner with. So make sure that's safe. And then if you just roll it up, it just means that you've got a bit of control when you first start putting the wallpaper on the wall. And then just put a weight down on it, and then we're going to put the wallpaper paste on. Okay, well I'm just putting on some wallpaper paste now. I'm just using a brush. There's a big spider up there. Oh dear, I've just killed the spider. God, how awful. God, I hope not any arachnophobics out there. But anyway, it's gone now. Sorry, didn't realise that. And then we'll just carry on with the wallpaper. I'll try and really put like loads of paste on. So we've got we can always add a bit more on if we want to. So, okay, now I need to go and get my wallpaper now, and we're going to start putting it on. I'll just get this, scissors, some. So now we're going, actually pull the ladder a bit. It's always good to get comfortable where your ladder is. These aren't the best steps. I think we had a very fat builder on them and they've never been the same since. So anyway, they keep sort of... So anyway, now what we're doing is I'm going up with this, matching up to my wallpaper again. I'm starting off with that. Just do a little bit. And if you've got it sort of rolled up, then you've got lots of control. And you're not battling with a massive bit of wallpaper. And then, so now we've got this door, so I can let the wallpaper go now. And then we want to have a look at the top here. So I need to cut, where do I need to cut? I need to cut it sort of at an angle so I can get it to go around. That's it. To go around the other side. We can put some wallpaper paste on there when we've get to that bit. So I'm going to cut this off with my sharp knife. So there we are. So that's that bit. So then we've got, don't worry about this because this is going to be going around the corner. So I'm just going to concentrate on just doing the door first. So again, we need to find the door, the end of the door. So that's the end of the door there. That between my legs. I should have to get the scissors. It'll help if I just drop my scrapey thing. I might have to get the friendly cameraman to pick it up for me in a minute. So anyway, so I'm going to go cut across like that to the corner. So that's going in there. And then we can sort of bring it round as well. So we don't want to do any more cutting as such. We just want to be careful that we're not going to cut and then have a sort of gap. It's always a bit tricky when you're on a small area. So I'm not going to do any cutting again yet. I'm just going to get it sort of in a position where I'm happy. Because you don't want to cut it and then you end up with a massive gap. I'm just trying to find where my scrapey thing went. Oh, there it is, miles away. I know you get the professional decorators and they seem to have a pocket for everything and it all beautifully comes out of the pocket. I don't seem to be that organised, so things fall on the floor when I'm doing it. So I'm just going to do this along with my scrapey thing again. and then just check this here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, because I don't want to cut the wrong bit. I'm just going to cut into that corner there, and then that'll push that down. So I haven't cut anything off which I shouldn't be cutting off, so I've just been careful and just seen where I'm going, and then I can make sure everything's flat and happy, and then I can start cutting. I'll cut the top bit off first. So I'll cut this bit off first. That's it, so that's good. So we're happy there, so that's okay, so you don't have to go back there now. And then I'm going to start cutting this bit. So I think we're going down. So I'm going to start cutting at the top. Oh gosh, hang on. Bringing it down. Bring it down, then cut it. Bring it down, and then cut it. I'm not going to go all the way down because I want to sort of see what's happening at the bottom and maybe use my scissors. I'll take that off. Then I'm going to get my scissors. I'm just going to cut this excess off. There's that bit there. And then we can just give it a quick, use the scrapey tool up there. And then now I'm going to do this bottom bit here. So I need to sort of, I'm going to cut it, but I'm not going to cut it right into the corner because I'm going to use my scissors. And I'm not going to cut it right to the end either there because I might. So I'm just going to cut that up there. I'm just going to cut that down so I've got a bit of excess in case I need to when I'm turning the corner, just to be on the safe side. And the thing about, I find that you have to sort of slightly put some more wallpaper paste on because it kind of dries out really quickly. It sort of absorbs into the, so you can see here I'm just going to use my scissors to make a really sort of nice cut. There we are. And then that looks a lot nicer. You know, that looks a lot better. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put some more wallpaper paste underneath all of this. So get a whole load of them, lift it all up again. So I know it's going to fit. Just put loads of wallpaper paste on. It's sort of in the extremities that sort of, it just gets feels a bit dry. It just needs to stick on more. And that's it. And there we are, and we've gone around the door. So now, as you can see, I've got this sort of flap area that's coming, so we need to put that around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my wallpaper paste out. We're also going to have to get the fridge out as well, which is going to be interesting. So I'm going to start sort of wallpaper pasting along here quite liberally. I've got quite a lot. Don't worry, it's sort of not that messy, and you can just use your sponge to. So I need to get my ladder again. And a bit more paste. Oh gosh, hang on. Right. I've got lots of paste on there. And I haven't cut anything. So I'm going to sort of bring that round. So I'm going to use my scrapey thing and then sort of bring it round the corner. I haven't cut that top bit off, so I can cut that off in a minute. So I'm literally just going to bring the scrapey thing around, bring it down and give it a good, because you can't really just get a piece of wallpaper and just go around the corner like this. It doesn't really work. So you do need to do it in sections. So I'm doing this. I think what I'll do is I'll take that top bit off now while I'm up here. That's going to come off. There we are. Brilliant. That's come off. And then carry on down. Face to face. I'm just going to make that like a really nice, neat edge. You can use your fingers as well. Let's bring that all the way down like that. And then might do a bit more paste. Bring it down. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this end bit off here, but you probably won't see this because we're going to cover it with the other bit of wallpaper. In fact, I'm going to use my scissors because it's a bit gluey. I'm just going to cut that off. And that's round there like that. I might cut a bit more off, just to be on the safe side. There we are. So then we're just going to keep sort of using your fingers to push it down. And then I'll get my sponge and I'll just go down it with the sponge as well. And then we're all ready for the next section of what we're going to be doing. So what we're going to do is putting the second section of the wallpaper over here, but we have to do another plumb line. So we're always starting on a straight edge, and then we'll be slightly overlapping this bit of wallpaper with the other side of the wallpaper. So there we are. And then on to the next section. So we're on to the second bit of wallpaper here. So I'm just going to check the length. That's 30 centimetres is that width of that wallpaper. So what we need to do now is we need to do a new plumb line on the wall. So we always have a straight edge. So I'll show you how I do that. So we've pulled the fridge out now. So we're on the home run. So I haven't got much more to do. So that's exciting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure sort of 30. I'm going to probably do about 30 and a half in there because I want to slightly overlap it, but I don't want it to go completely overlap. So I'm going to do 30 and a half along here. So I'm just going to put a pencil mark and just mark it along. And then I'm just going to use the spirit level because I can't really get the laser thing to work. I'm not very good at it and I think I need to sort of attach it to something. So I'm not going to use that. So I want sort of 30 and a half. So I start off, and then here what I'll do is I'll use the spirit level where I can see my little marks, and I'm going to just put the spirit level along that, and I'm just going to make sure that the bubble is in the middle, and then I'm going to draw a pencil mark. So I'm going to do that all the way up the wall. So then we're ready to put the next bit of wallpaper up. Go. Right, so now I'm going to put on my other piece. So what I want to do is sort of find where the pattern is, sort of where I think it's going to match, and then I'm going to move it along. So I'm going to move it along. So I'm now concentrating on the line on the left, because that's going to give me my straight line. So I'm going to position that round. So we've also got a sloping ceiling, but as you can see, I've overlapped it. So it means that it's not sort of right up on the edge, and it means that if someone comes past it, they're not going to sort of pull it off. So I'm going to concentrate on this line here, And then I'm going to bring the wallpaper down. So this is quite easy because I haven't got too many obstacles to go across. And I'm just going to make sure I'm on that line. Just using my fingers first, and then I'll come down again, and then once I've done that, then I can start cutting everything, smoothing things out a bit more. And we're getting that, doing very well. So then we're down the bottom now. I've got my scrapey thing. I'm going to start scraping it. Well, that looks good. So if this line was out, as you can see, some of it's a bit thinner. Like there's a very small gap there, and then it gets a bit wider. So that means that it's probably might not be plumb straight the wall. But as long as we've got a straight line coming or starting again on here, it means that the rest of this wall is going to be straight. And if I just had one piece of wallpaper and I just went round the corner, then it wouldn't necessarily be straight when it was round the corner. So this makes sure that your wallpaper is always going to be straight and plumb. So I'll take that off, and then we're on the home straight. There we are. Fantastic. And then we'll just do the bottom bit. Oh, that's my scissors. That's why I need a sharp knife, because it gets blunt very quickly. There we are. Push that down. That is it. There we are. We've turned around an outside corner. So now I've just got to finish doing the few bits more, and then we finish the whole room. Very exciting.